Welcome to Python programming series. Here I will cover everything from fundamental to advanced topics with clear and detailed explanation. I will upload new videos every week, and if you find my videos helpful, please subscribe to my channel and support me. In this lesson, we're going to discuss about the most common terminology that we will be using in Python is IDLE and IDE. Let's start with IDLE. The full form of IDLE is Integrated Development and Learning Environment. This is simple text editor, and it will come by default in the Python editor itself. Basically, this editor has a feature of syntax highlighting, which means that for a given syntax, let's say you have some difference between the commands or something like strings and etc. So that is called a syntax highlighting. And at the same time, we can also have the interactive Python shell where we can execute our codes line by line. And it also has the debugging capabilities, means we can actually use this IDLE for error debugging, and also we can set the breakpoints and see and understand the code line by line. And of course, it does not require any kind of installations. Generally, it will come default when you install the Python IDE. When you install the Python IDLE will come by default. First of all, it is very easy to use and it is good for beginners. One of the biggest advantage is the Python IDLE is lightweight and it requires the minimum system requirements. But when it comes to the disadvantage, it's not suitable for the large and complex projects like web development, application developments, etc. Here are the four popular IDLEs that was there. And first one, which is the Python IDLE. This will come by default. And apart from that, there are three IDLEs also there, which we need the separate installations for this. One is Thorny, Mu Editor, and Genie. Now let's look into the IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is a software application that provides the editing, debugging, testing, and running the code. And when it comes to the features, it has the code editor with syntax highlighting and also having the auto completion feature, which is one of the biggest advantage whenever you're working on the large projects, and obviously has the integrated with the debugging, find where the error is coming. And it also has the by default the version control, like we can integrate with GitHub, Bitbucket, and etc. And it has the very good file management and the project management system, where if your application has a lot of projects and some modules and some configuration files, then IDE is the best choice for you. And also it comes with a lot of plugins and extensions using which we can even make our application development even faster. And advantages, as I said, this is useful for the large scale application, and debugging, making it faster, makes the development even faster. And also has the extensive tools, since it has the plugins, and it has the very extensive tools and integration with the different frameworks and libraries. And if you look into the IDEs, here are the four popular IDEs are there. One is PyCharm, and which is one of the most popular IDE for Python. But however, one of the disadvantage here is PyCharm is not open source, means we need to purchase the license in order to use the PyCharm. But however, there is a community edition is there, but which has the limited features. One of the alternative for the PyCharm is Visual Studio Code, developed by the Microsoft. It is really the great alternative, and which has lots of features. In fact, it covers almost most of the features that we have in the PyCharm. And similar to Visual Studio Code, Atom is also open source. It has even the similar set of features that Visual Studio Code has. And next is Jupyter Notebook, or in fact it is a Jupyter. Basically JUPYTER, which means the JU stands for Julia, PYT stands for Python, ER is basically R. So initially the Jupyter is started for the 3 language, and now it supports almost all the language. Since initial development is only on 3 language, probably I think they named the Jupyter. And apart from that, we are also having the few more IDEs also there, which are also very popular, like Spider, PyDev by Eclipse, Notepad++, Sublime Text, etc. And when it comes to the development standpoint, you can use whatever the IDE that you want. There is no such thing that you have to use this IDE only. Depends upon your comfort zone and some memory point of view, you can choose your own IDE. In summary, if I want to summarize the features between IDE and IDLE, IDE does require a separate installation, whereas IDLE, particularly the Python IDLE, does not require the separate installation. Learning curve point of view, IDE has advanced features and requires the deep learning whenever you want to understand all the features in the IDE. Whereas in IDLE, it's a very beginner and easy to start. Features wise, we have the very extensive features in the IDE, whereas in IDLE, it's a basic features. Customizable point of view, it's a highly customizable, and IDLE is very minimal. When it comes to the project suitability, IDE is suitable for the medium and large scale applications, whereas IDE is suitable for the small applications and small scripts. Performance wise, IDE requires the memory or resources to run it, whereas IDLE is very lightweight. Hence the application standpoint of view, it will be IDE is particularly used for developing the websites, data science applications, developing the Android applications, and etc. Whereas IDLE is used for the embedded systems where we require the minimum memory or lightweight IDE. So one of the advantage of the IDE stands here is the memory. And if you ask me where exactly we will use the IDLE, it's one of the application is the Raspberry Pi. If you know the Raspberry Pi is an IoT device, means you can say it is a mini computer, and where it is connected to the cloud, or we can do some kind of applications over it, we can use the IDLE. And particularly here, Raspberry Pi will support the Python, and obviously we can use the IDLE inside it to program it. And also when it comes to the bigger applications like the drones, if you see the drones, and inside that we have something like a Jetson boards will be there. The Jetson is something like developed by the NVIDIA, and inside that we have a GPU which is used to run and process it very fastly. Even there also we don't want to compromise on their memory standpoint of view, and generally even here we will use the very lightweight IDEs. So most preferred choice is Python IDLE, and sometimes the people will also use the Thorny, Mu Editor, and Genie for writing the codes into the NVIDIA Jetson boards. Alright, that's one of the advantage of IDLE, and this is what the difference between the Python IDE and IDLE, and also where exactly we're going to use the IDE and the IDLE. Hope you like our video. For more interesting videos, please do subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to get the more notifications on the Python. Thank you very much.